Welcome back to News 46's Week in Review. Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue responded for the second time to a home on Rancho Street on the east side of town for a structure fire last Friday night. Earlier in the day, they transported a man to Desert View Hospital who suffered severe burns to his head.
A structure fire was reported around 9 p.m. on Friday night here on Rancho off Corbin Street. There was a report here earlier of a burn victim who actually medics think might have possibly set himself on fire. We're going to speak to Fire Chief Scott Lewis.
Yes, we are. We were dispatched this evening for a report of a structure fire. Upon arrival, we found that, in fact, we did have a single-wide manufactured dwelling with heavy fire conditions in the central part of the structure. It had already self-vented through several windows and 2 open doorways. So in essence, we had a heavy fire condition. We also had discharging ammunition, which added to the dynamics of the initial scene size up in a risk assessment. As you can see behind us, there's a lot of personal property surrounding this structure, and by happen so, we had a burn victim here earlier today, and thus we had the opportunity to take a look on the inside, and we noted an overaccumulation of personal property throughout the structure. Having that awareness and knowledge tonight, we decided to play safe and do a defensive exterior attack with no commitment of personnel to the inside. All people were accounted for, so the life safety issues were taken away.
We were dispatched for a burn victim, like you said earlier here today, who possibly lit himself on fire. He's not here at the home at this time?
No, that person has since been transported to the hospital earlier today, and to the best of my knowledge, probably remains in the hospital. We're unable to determine exactly how that fire started, but there was some thoughts that possibly he had lit himself a fire either by accident or intentional. They're not really certain at this point.
So is this fire from earlier today that smoldered and turned into this structure fire, or do you think this is a new fire?
There's really no indication. The burn victim from earlier today was unable to provide us any information where the incident actually occurred, and there were no witnesses to it. The only other resident had been away from the property for approximately 2 hours. When the Nye County Sheriff's Office deputies and I went into the structure, we found such an accumulation of personal property. There was no smoke or fire visible within the structure, and we were in there for, probably a good 10 minutes or so. But to be able to determine what exactly happened earlier today, we can't do that until he's able to tell us.
And we have a person here that lives in the home do you have any information as to how they discovered that the structure fire occurred? Yeah,
so thus far the initial interview suggested that he was watching television and then started beginning to smell smoke, investigated, and found a fire condition. He hasn't been clear as to where he saw that initial fire condition, but we're working on that now.
Once again, that burn victim was transported to the hospital. The investigation still continues whether that was an accidental fire and in fact he fell asleep and accidentally lit himself on fire with a cigarette, or if in fact he was actually trying to commit suicide. There have been reports that he has attempted this in the past. Of course, this home was a complete loss. This is Deanna O'Donnell on Rancho near Corbin for News 46. Rescue crews responded to a call regarding a fire under a manufactured home on Vondel Street last Saturday afternoon. Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue and Nye County Sheriff's deputies responded to a home off Vondel Street on Saturday afternoon for an apparent structure fire. According to reports, the homeowner reported smoke coming from underneath this manufactured dwelling. Upon investigation, firefighters located an already extinguished fire underneath the house. The cause of the fire appears to be improper wiring. Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue conducted the investigation. This is Deanna O'Donnell on Vondel for News 46.
An ultralight aircraft crashed on Thousand Air Boulevard near Oak Ridge Saturday night.
Saturday night, approximately 7 p.m., what can only be described as possibly a homemade aircraft crashed near Thousand Air and Oak Ridge, approximately 7 p.m. Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue arrived on scene along with Nye County Sheriff's deputies to find a small aircraft, which is being described as an ultralight. It has a small motor on the back as well as some kind of parachute. It seems to have crashed in front of the pilot's house on Thousand Air Boulevard. Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue did transport the pilot with a possible broken leg and some bleeding underneath one of his arms to Desert View Hospital. The pilot's family came and took custody of the air crash and placed it inside their garage. Nye County Sheriff's deputies and detectives will be conducting this investigation. This is Deanna O'Donnell for News 46. An 18-year-old is arrested for allegedly coercing a juvenile into sex acts. Deputies took a report referencing an allegation of sex crimes, according to Tajade Saunders being the suspect. Deputies and general assignment detectives conducted an in-depth investigation and concluded that Saunders was angry with a juvenile female. As a result, he conjured up a story about his involvement with a gang out of Las Vegas. He then promoted this fabricated story utilizing emails, texts, and video chatting on the internet. According to Nye County Sheriffs, he twisted the story to be that he was going to suffer serious bodily harm or death as a result of a bad relation with a gang. He convinced several juveniles that this was legitimate and that if this juvenile female would not perform sexual acts on video, that he or his family would be killed. Under the ongoing threat or injury or death and the compelling force that went with it, Saunders was eventually able to force this juvenile female into these sex acts with himself and others. Saunders was booked in the Nye County Detention Center for the following charges: kidnapping, statutory sexual seduction, sexual assault of 2 counts, involuntary servitude, coercion, produce child pornography ×2, promote sexual performance of a child. He is being held on $375,000 bail. This is Deanne O'Donnell for News 46.
Finally, work has begun to repair a closed portion of Blagg Road, which was damaged in December of 2010 after heavy rains and improper soil compaction caused sinkholes in the roadway. This in turn damaged several lift stations.
Well, as of last week, construction on Blagg Road has begun. The Nye County Commissioners approved the project to Wolfenstein Construction from Blagg all the way to Atkinson. We're going to speak to Commissioner Butch Boraski.
Last week they were cutting some of the asphalt off. Then they had to wait until Monday, yesterday, to start up again. I was down there a little while ago. They've got about, I don't know, 200-300 foot of trench open. I asked the guys how it was going down there, and they said it was great. It's Bird Underground, by the way, that's actually doing the digging and putting the gravel back in and recompacting it.
That's for the sewer line compaction, right?
Yes.
And the lift stations, or is that Utilities Inc. that's going to be doing the lift station?
No, I'm not too sure if Utilities Inc. is going to fix their own lift stations or not. I would think they would be liable for those, not us. But I'll have to check on that for you and let you know the next time we talk. I did get some good news. I just checked, and we're going to have a change order on the time frame for the project, and it only looks to me like it's going to be about 3 months.
Wow.
Or less, which is phenomenal if we can get it done that quick. And then we'd all love to see that road open back up. I can only apologize for the business owners down there on Blagg that have been put out, but there's nothing. It was out of our control.
The Wolfenstein is actually going to be doing the pavement part, or what part?
Yeah, I think Wolfenstein's got the whole job, and he's subbing out to. I hope I'm correct here. He's subbing out to Bird Underground to do the digging part. As you know, Wolfenstein's pretty busy in town on Dandelion and other places, and maybe when he gets done with those, he'll pull off and come over there. But definitely he will be doing the paving, the grading, and all of that.
And so we're looking for the whole portion, or just a part of the portion right now from Basin to Mesquite? That's the whole entire portion, or is it? Or how much are we looking for the 3-month period? Well,
basically, we approved X number of lineal feet to be done, and that was from Basin up, maybe not quite all the way to Mesquite. Now, if we find some very wet soil or some bad conditions down there, then probably would come back for a change order to extend that further and make sure that we get all of the bad spots out. And that's the key. It's public safety. We do not want anybody getting hurt. We don't want any collapsed roads. And we all know how quick things happened last time with roads collapsing and wet spots and things like that. So we're going on the cautious side for the safety, health, safety, and welfare of the public.
Once again, that is good news that it will be only 3 months until this portion of the roadway is open. Of course, we'll keep you posted. This is Deanne O'Donnell for News 46. We'll be right back after these messages with more News 46 Week in Review.